Hello everyone and welcome back to another Cercle lesson online. Thank you very much for joining. It's nice to have you all here. I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. Of course, it was a bank holiday, which is the name we call these in England. I hope everyone did something productive and I hope you all had a good time. So, the lesson today is on exam questions, and the lesson today is going to be slightly different. Normally, we try and ask lots of different questions, and we always try to encourage you to write different sentences. Today, I thought we could do something different, and we can try different types of exercises to really test your English ability. So hello to everyone who has joined the chat, and thank you all for coming again. I would just like to quickly say something about our company like normal. We're based in Paris and our job is to help you become more proficient in English. And in regards to these online lessons, if you have any questions, any queries, or anything that you'd like to know, please do write it in the chat and I will do my best to help out. Another piece of information I would like to give is that if you are interested in joining our company, then please read the description below and please subscribe if you already haven't done so. So, I have a question for today, a little fact. I want to see if anyone knows what film is most commonly associated to the 4th of May. What film is most commonly associated with the 4th of May? Does anyone know? We'll wait for some answers. We'll wait for some responses on the chat. This is just a very quick question. This is not an exam question in England. This is just one to try and encourage everyone to type on their keyboards and on the chat. Okay, we're having some suggestions. V for Vendetta. It's a very good try, Leah, but unfortunately that's not the answer. Hamza would like me to write the question. Of course I can. So the question is, what film is commonly associated with the date May the 4th? Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you again for joining. So I've written the quick question just to encourage everyone to write on the chat. What do you think? What film is most commonly associated with May the 4th? I'm going to have to give you a timer. So we'll give you 5 more seconds to see if someone knows the answer. Okay, the answer is Star Wars. So a common line in this film is "May the Force be with you." It sounds very similar to May the 4th. And so a lot of people have associated the date of May the 4th as being Star Wars Day. Just a fun fact for any of you who are unaware. But let's start now on the real English focus of the lesson today. So, if you ever have taken an English exam before, it's important to learn about all 4 aspects of the language, the 4 key skills, we say. We're going to do our best to try and experiment and try and teach you how to answer these questions. This lesson will also be a recap of vocabulary and grammar, but it's just a fun and exciting way to show you the differences of exercises. And I always ask you to make sentences. I wanted to try something different. So we're going to start with speaking. Then we're going to talk about reading, then listening and writing. We have 30 minutes, so I'm going to try and get through this as quickly as possible. Let's start with the speaking. Now, I understand it's difficult to have a conversation through a laptop. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I will ask you a question. I will not write it down on the chat. And you have to answer that question in as much detail as possible. And just perhaps after the lesson or while you are writing, you can practice speaking and reading your question. And I will be here to help you or talk through the errors or perhaps common mistakes that are made. So let's get started. So as I mentioned, try and practice your speaking and please do write in the chat your answers. So question 1, how do you get to work every day? How do you get to work every day? So as I mentioned before, please do write in as much detail into the chat, but also try and speak. Normally, of course, if you were doing a speaking exam, there would be someone who would be listening to your answer and they would assess you based on your response. It's difficult to do a YouTube live with 20 people. So unfortunately, this is the way we have to structure this class. So we're starting to get some answers through. Let's have a look. Hamza has written here, I get to work by feet every day. That's fantastic, Hamza. And I think it's really good to get exercise. I will just say quickly, the structure of your sentence was excellent, Hamza, but we don't say we get to work by feet. We say, I walk to work, or I get to work by walking. But normally we say, I walk to work every day. Fantastic, thank you. Afaf has written, I go to work by subway. Yeah, we could also say, I take the subway to work. My station is this, and I arrive at this station. Fantastic. You could also additionally say, there are 13 stops. You could say, you could talk about the traffic. Is the traffic good? Is the traffic bad? Thank you for your response. Alexandra has written, I'm not working for the moment as I'm looking for a job. Okay, so perhaps it's a plan for the future of how you would get to work. Let's have a look at some different answers. Chantal has written here, I get to work with my Vespa, but now for the moment I can't and stay at home. That's fantastic. And Vespa is a make of a bike, for those of you who are unaware. So normally, Chantal, you would say, I take my motorbike to work, or I go to work on my motorbike or motorcycle. But a fantastic answer. And I love Vespas too. Okay, we have some really interesting sentences, and hopefully while I was explaining the or reading out the answers, you had a chance to speak and practice your pronunciation. Let's try another question. And again, I want to see if you understand what I'm saying, so I won't write it in the chat. The next question here is, what did you do over the weekend? What did you do over the weekend? So again, please write a sentence and I'll do my best to try and advise you and guide you on a good answer. And also, in addition to this, if you could practice reading the sentences and your own, hopefully that will be really good practice for you. So let's wait for some sentences and see what suggestions we have. So I will answer this question while I wait for some responses. This weekend, I went for a walk because it was very sunny. I made sure that I was wearing protective gear. I also did some cooking. I made a really nice pasta, or I thought it was nice. I also did some reading. I read this book called The Art of Thinking Clearly. I recommend it to any of you who haven't read it. So we're starting to get some suggestions through now. Let's have a look. Afaf has written here, last weekend, I worked on my design project and cooked a little. That's a fantastic sentence there, Afaf. You've used the correct tense, you've used the correct verbs, and I'm very interested to hear what your design project was. So Ania has an aperitif. That's fantastic. Hamza has written here, over the weekend, I practice sport, I play piano, and watching films. That's an excellent weekend, Hamza, and I hope you had an enjoyable time. Please do remember to talk in the past tense because these actions have happened in the previous weekend. So it would be correct to say, over the weekend, I practiced sport, or you can also say, I played sport, I played piano, and I watched films. But a fantastic sentence. Thank you very much. If I pick another sentence here in the chat, I can see Alexandra has written a really big sentence. So let's have a look. Alexandra has written, as it was raining, I just had a quick walk with my dog and cooked a little bit and watched TV. Fantastic, Alexandra. Back in England, I loved to walk my dogs too. It was nice to be outside, and I like the company of having a dog. Okay, so fantastic, and thank you everyone for your sentences. I hope you all had some practice at speaking. I wanted to start with speaking as it was quite easy asking and answering questions. I now want to talk about a reading exercise. What I'm going to do is I am going to copy a sentence into the chat. We will talk about multiple sentences and they may be quite long. And there will be a word missing in this sentence. I will give you 4 words to choose from, and your job is to read the sentence and try and guess which word from the 4 fits into that sentence. Okay, so it should be hopefully an understandable exercise. I will give you an example to start. So the first sentence is, the coconut tree is thought to be one of the most valuable trees in the world. It is mostly found by the sea where there is a hot and wet. And the answers, or the possible answers, if I copy them for you, we have A, temperature. We have B, condition. We have C, climate. And we have D, weather. So I would like to add, these are from a Cambridge exam at a B2 level. So it could be difficult for some of you, but we'll try and explain why we use each word. But I'd be very interested to see what suggestions that you have. So again, the coconut tree is thought to be one of the most valuable trees in the world. It is mostly found by the sea where there is a hot and wet temperature, a hot and wet condition, a hot and wet climate, or hot and wet weather. Okay, so we're having some different answers, which is very interesting. The majority of students have written climate. I will perhaps wait for 1 or 2 answers more. Okay, I think more people are agreeing with climate, and that is correct. If we're talking about the weather of a specific country or city, we refer to it as a climate. A climate refers to, in general, the different types of weather conditions in that city. For example, in France, the climate is hot and cold. It depends on what year you are in France or Paris. So I'm really happy to see that everyone understood the exercise. Let's try again with another sentence and see if you can understand the difference. So again, to save time, I'm just going to copy and paste the sentences. And I'm going to go and get the answers. So this next sentence, the coconuts often fall into the sea and float on the water until they A, reach another beach, B, go another beach, C, travel another beach, or D, arrive another beach. This is very difficult, this one, but I'm very interested to see your answers. So we're talking about, okay, we're starting to get some answers through. I thought it was a difficult question, but of course not. We have some fantastic students who always get the right answer. Reach is correct. So in regards to the structure of the sentence, we're talking about how the coconut, if we imagine this as the beach, the sentence is talking about the coconut on the sea, and it's referring to when the coconut gets to the beach, when it arrives on the beach. Given the structure of the sentence, reach is the only possible answer here. Even though the coconut is traveling, it's going, the action of it getting to the beach is the correct verb is reach. For example, I could say that I am driving to a holiday home in the south of France. I have a lovely place in Marseille, for example. If I'm driving with my friend, I could say, when I arrive, we have reached the destination. Okay, so it's a verb we use to define the arrival of a destination, and it works in this sentence. I hope my explanation has been clear. Please do write in the comments if it is still unclear. But let's try another example of a reading exercise. And you're all doing a fantastic job. I thought that was very difficult. So well done if you got the right answer. So the next sentence here, I'm going to copy. And I'm also going to give you the suggestions for what the missing word could be. So I'm now going to read the sentence for you. Holiday makers often see the coconut trees as no more than an attractive sun umbrella that provides A, cloud, B, shade, C, dark, or D, cold. So hopefully in these exercises, some of you can also learn some new vocabulary. So of course, we'll wait for a couple more students to give them a chance to be involved in the exercise. So what do we think? We're talking about something which blocks the sun. So the sun can often be quite uncomfortable if you're in it. It can be very hot. It can also be very dangerous. I burn all the time in the sun. If I'm in the sun for 10 minutes, I will go red from top to bottom. So looking at the answers, fantastic, and well done again to everyone. You have the correct answer. Shade is what we refer to as something which blocks the sun. So for example, if we think of the tree, which is coming over my head like this, and the sun is just here, below the tree, the sun is being blocked, and it will almost paint a silhouette of the tree on the floor. Now, if I stand under this tree, it's going to block the sun, and we say that I am in the shade because the sun is no longer affecting me, it's no longer touching me. So the word we use for the area which is being blocked out by the sun by an object is shade. So fantastic answers again. We're all experts of reading in this chat. So I do have some more exercises. We still have listening and writing. I understand that these exercises may be small, but hopefully they're a really good exercise to show you the different kind of exercises and different grammar and vocabulary points that we've discussed about in the past. But I think so far you're all looking to pass the exam, so well done. If we talk about listening exercises now, this exercise is difficult because I'm going to read out a long passage and you have to listen very closely to the kind of vocabulary and words which I use in order to answer the question. I will repeat this again to make it clear. So we're going to do some listening exercises now. I am going to read a paragraph of text. I will not write it in the chat. And I will give you a question, and you have to listen to what I say in order to answer the question. Okay? So let's try a question as an example. Okay? The question that you need to answer in the text is, what did the girl buy on her shopping trip? Okay? What did the girl buy on her shopping trip? Okay, I'll give you just 5 or 10 seconds to read the question and understand it. Okay, so now I'm going to read a big paragraph, and inside this paragraph will be the answer. When I've stopped reading, I'll come back and I'll see what your suggestions are. So the question, what did the girl buy on her shopping trip? There's a bed, a desk, but nowhere to put books in my room. And there's only one big light in the ceiling. I'd prefer to have a lamp on my desk, so that's what I got today. If I've got enough money, I'll get some bookshelves next week. They had some lovely big cushions on special offer in the department store. I nearly got one today, actually. So maybe the bookshelves can wait. Okay, so what did the girl buy on her shopping trip? Did she buy A, a bookshelf? Did she buy B, a lamp? Or C, did she buy a cushion? This is a very difficult exercise. There's a lot of words in the text, and you have to listen very closely. I'll read it one more time quickly so that everyone can hear it again. Okay, or maybe not. Everyone seems to be sure of the answer, which is fantastic. It's really impressive because that is a difficult exercise and you have to listen very closely. Well done to everyone on the chat. That's fantastic. Really good. Of course, it's a lamp. She was thinking about buying a bookshelf and a cushion in the future, but at the time she bought a lamp. For those of you who are perhaps unsure of the answer, I will read through 3 sentences to explain the answer. So she said, I'd prefer to have a lamp on my desk, so that's what I got today. In English, when you say I got lunch, I got a new pen, you're using got as a reference to buy. I buy a new pen, or I bought a new pen. I buy lunch. I got lunch. So when she says I got a lamp, she means that she bought the lamp in her shopping trip. Again, if there are any questions, please do write it in the chat, but fantastic and well done to those of you who got the correct answer. So let's go on to the next one. Again, a listening exercise. And the question is, why did the plane leave late? So hopefully I can catch out some of the students with this one. Okay, so again, I'll give you maybe 10 seconds to read through the question. Why did the plane leave late? Okay, so I'll read through the text. Good morning, this is your captain speaking. I'd just like to apologize for the late departure of the flight. As you know, we had to wait for the runway to be cleared of snow before we could take off and get on our way. We'll arrive in Manchester in about an hour, and we're told the weather on the ground isn't good. There's heavy rain in the city, and we're expecting strong winds at the airport as we land. But we shouldn't be too far behind schedule. Thank you for your attention. So, why did the plane leave late? Was it A, because of strong winds? Was it B, because of snow? Or was it C, because of the rain? So again, why did the plane leave late? Let's just give a little bit more time to give some other students a chance to answer. So it seems like the most common answer is B, snow, and you are correct. So what you needed to listen out for in this question was, why did the plane leave late? So they're talking about the plane at the beginning of the journey. At the beginning of the journey, there was snow on the runway, so they had to clear the snow so the plane could take off. All the rain and the wind was at the destination. That was when they arrived. So in the question, if they said, why did the plane arrive later, or why was the plane late, the answer would be wind and rain. But it's talking about when the plane left, when it leaves late. Why did it leave late? And yes, I understand there are some difficulties, but it's really good to listen and try and understand the different types of language that there are. But I mean, fantastic again. These exercises are not easy. And as I mentioned, this is from a B level paper, so it's excellent. Of course, the key skill that we haven't talked about is writing. And now, normally, you're asked to write big paragraphs for the exam. I'm not going to ask you to write a paragraph on the YouTube chat, but what I will do is that I can ask a general question, and then you can do your best to provide a big answer using vocabulary and grammar, and then I can help assess or help correct your sentences. So my first question is, what is your favorite hobby? Okay, so maybe just write a sentence or two, practice your writing, practice the kind of vocabulary that you would normally use, perhaps even with a conversation. And also, if you want to practice your speaking again, you could also read the sentences once you've written them. So remembering it's a writing exercise, try and write a full sentence if you can. So Thierry loves surfing. That's fantastic, Thierry. You could also include in your answer where you like to surf, how long you've been surfing for, do you surf with your friends or family? An example sentence, Thierry, could be, I love surfing in England or in France. I go surfing with my friends. We have been surfing since we were 10 years old. We like going surfing in the sun. We like to have a barbecue afterwards. You can make a really big sentence, but a fantastic contribution. Thank you. Let's have a look at some other sentences here. Virginie here has written, walk and run are my favorite hobbies. That's fantastic. It's really good to be active and to do exercise. I think it's really good for the body, and that's fantastic, Virginie. I would like to add quickly, because these two verbs, walk and run, are continual actions, you could also say, I like walking and running are my favorite hobbies because they last for an extended period of time, but that's fantastic. I can see I like cooking desserts like crumble and rhubarb. That sounds delicious, Veronique. Ania has written here, I love traveling. It's why I have been working as a guide for over 20 years. That's fantastic. Oh, wow. I'd love to know where you've been traveling, Anya. Traveling's a big passion of mine, so I very gratefully share that with you. So we have loads of hobbies. It's fantastic to see all of your interests. Hamza has written a really nice looking sentence here. Hamza has written, my favorite hobby is modern dance and tennis. I love modern dance, because it is a mixture of theatre and sport, and it's a dance with a lot of emotion. That's a fantastic description, Hamza. I really like how in this sentence you've explained why this dance is your favorite. And I don't know much about modern dance, but I feel like I would like to watch a video and learn more about it. Fantastic. Chantal has written here, my favorite hobby is walking in nature with friends and my two adorable dogs, and visiting new countrysides and tasting new food. That's fantastic as well, Chantal. And I really think that and I love walking with my dogs. And it's enjoyable because it's not only a walk in the countryside, but there's more of a family feel. It's really nice going with pets. Okay, I would like to thank everyone else for writing a sentence. I apologize if I didn't have a chance to read through yours, but unfortunately, we're at the end of the lesson today. And I would like to thank everyone for joining, and well done as well. I think some of these exercises were very difficult, but you all had the correct answers, which was fantastic. I hope you all had a fantastic weekend, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And thank you again for today. Have a great afternoon. Goodbye.